flawless victory.
Hey guys, so I played a few hours of Marvel's Avengers beta, which is available for people that pre-ordered the game. It will be available on all platforms, this beta, but it's available today for people who pre-ordered the game on PlayStation. And I don't think I'm gonna play much more because by now I think I'm more interested in seeing if I can get a refund for this game. So yeah, it's not good. It's actually it's pretty bad. So if you don't know anything about this, this is a loot-driven co-op action game. So you play missions, collect loot, do some objectives, fight, upgrade your gear, and so on. The combat is pretty standard. You have your light attacks, heavy attacks, and range attacks, which you can switch up. You know, you press square for light attack, triangle for heavy attack, and you can go square, square, triangle. There's finishers on each combo, which you can modify. You know, if you hit square, square, triangle, or triangle, triangle, square, it's different. And, you know, it's your basic stuff. Sometimes you can hold square or triangle and get something different, or get a more, you know, a charged attack and stuff like that. And you also have 3 abilities, which can be upgraded. There's a skill tree and so on. But you're essentially like, you're not using different skills. You're upgrading the ones that you have. And there's also gear, which, you know, factors in with resistances and increasing your damage or your cooldowns and stuff like that. It's all, you know, the standard stuff that you would expect from a game like this. The problem, I think, is that everything is extremely mediocre. The graphics, the combat, the camera feel, the gameplay, the mission design, the levels, everything is not really standing out for me. It's one of the worst of these types of games that I've seen. I feel like God of War, in terms of combat, is the closest thing to this, given the way the camera is in that game. And, you know, you also have light attacks and heavy attacks, but that game does it really well with, you know, there's a weight behind the attacks and the way you throw the hammer. Everything feels great. There's a lot of different moves that you can unlock and equip. There's also loot in that game. You know, there's item rarity. That game does everything really great. Like, if I had to rate the combat in God of War, I would rate it a 9 out of 10. This, I would rate it a 6, maybe a 5, because it just doesn't feel good, you know? It feels like a pretty low budget adaptation, like like some knockoff brand game, you know? The combos are alright. Everything is alright, okay? Don't get me wrong, like, this is serviceable, but it's not good. Sometimes you're hitting an enemy and, you know, they don't get knocked back for some reason because they're charging an attack or something. That's, you know, kind of counterintuitive, I guess. Some enemies can block, especially with shields, and you have to break that block with a heavy attack, which you can then upgrade, you know, to other attacks to make them break the blocks as well. That's, I guess, some depth, but that's pretty much all there is to it. There are some attacks that you have to dodge. They flash red, some flash yellow. It's like, there's not enough to it, and what is there just isn't very good. There was only one point in the game where I was playing as Hulk, and I felt like, okay, you know, this is all right, but that's the highest point I encountered in all my time during this beta. That's, you know, at best it feels okay, but it's never gonna feel right. And the camera is a problem, I think. You can lock onto an enemy, but if you do a ranged attack, you lose that lock, which makes absolutely no sense. So you have to lock back in, and then the camera, while you're moving around and jumping, especially when you're like doing these climbing sequences and wall jumping, it feels awful. It really, really does. It's surprisingly bad. The other major problem that I have with the game is the way it looks. It just looks super grainy. Now, granted, this might look better on PC, but I'm playing on a PS4 Pro,
Okay, Jarvis, let's find
and it
something.
looks really bad. Like,
Jarvis?
it just looks like everything looks like mushy and not well defined. It's almost like stuff in the background is rendering at a lower resolution. You know, Digital Foundry will probably do a video on this and explain exactly what's going on. But just the way the shadows are, the way there's just this like grainy filter on the image and nothing looks good. The environment design is bad, everything looks muddy, nothing really stands out, not even the boxes that have the loot look good. There's this crates that you can destroy and they have like resources for crafting and stuff like that. And that part of the game, like the fact that this is a loot game, that's whatever. I don't think that fits the Avengers very well, but I guess it can be done. It just, you know, it's just the combat in this game is not good. So I don't know what the incentive is for going back and getting better loot and all of that if the core gameplay just doesn't feel right. This, you know, when this was announced, everybody complained about how the characters looked. Like, they look like some B-tier actors standing in for the actual Avengers. I think that's the feeling of everything in the entire game. Everything looks and feels like some knockoff. Like, this is you know, a packing game of some sort of promotional event or something like that. It doesn't feel AAA by any means. It feels just like a really run-of-the-mill, mediocre one of those games. You know, it feels, I don't know, everything feels off. It's really hard to explain feeling in a video. You know, you have to play the game to realize how bad this feels. But trust me, I think I would define it as nothing here is of quality. There's nothing here that you look or play and say, oh, this is like really good. This is quality stuff. Nothing is. The menus feel super bad for some reason. When you mouse over with the joystick and you select stuff, the controller vibrates, which is something that I think I have never seen in a menu before, and I think I know why, because it feels awful. The text, even the text is like hard to, it has this like static in it that just makes it harder to read, and the characters don't look really great in these menus. It just, I don't know, it feels like a bad remaster of a PlayStation 3 game. I know I'm being really harsh with this, but I just don't think anything is good here. It's like having a hamburger and the meat isn't the best, the cheese is alright, the bread isn't good, it's kind of stale. That's what this feels. At the end of the day, it's a hamburger and, you know, that's alright. But it's a bad one of those. It's a bad hamburger. It's less than the sum of its parts, because everything here, I don't know, there's nothing here. There really isn't. There's nothing here that you go, oh, you know, you should play this if you want, because this part of the game is really good. Even the music is bad. And don't even get me started on the mission design. This is one of those games where you have to stand around inside a circle to complete the mission while a timer runs down. It's that. So yeah, I don't know, stay away from this, really, guys. I know I like the Avengers, I really like the Marvel movies, I wanted to try it out, but holy crap, this is much worse than I thought it would be. So yeah, stay away. Alright guys, that will be all for now. If you enjoyed this video, check out the other videos on the channel. And as always, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.